Christmas is supposed to be a time of joy, togetherness, and warmth. But for the Sodder family, Christmas Eve in 1945 turned into a nightmare. Their home burned to the ground, 5 of their 10 children vanished, and nearly 80 years later, nobody really knows what happened. This is the chilling unsolved mystery of the Sodder Children. Hello, welcome back to Left and Past, and back to another video. Today I have another true crime case for y'all. Before we get into the case, I just want to let y'all know, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe down below and turn on post notifications so you get notified every time I post a new video, and it also helps me out a whole lot. So it's a win-win for the both of us. But with all that said, let's get into this case. The Sodder family was living the American dream. George Sodder, an immigrant from Italy, had built a trucking business in Fayetteville, West Virginia, and was extremely passionate about that. He was also very firm and passionate about his opinions, especially about politics, and he was not afraid to share them with anybody. And his wife Jenny was managing and taking care of their busy household, and together they had 10 children ranging from ages 2 to 23. Life seemed perfect for the Sodders. They was extremely respected in their community, and their home was always filled with laughter and love. But as we'll see through the case, there were cracks beneath the surface. Cracks that would widen into a mystery that has haunted Fayetteville, West Virginia ever since. And the weeks leading up to Christmas, strange things started to happen to the Sodder family. A man appeared at their front porch trying to sell them life insurance. And when George declined and said, "You can go away now, we don't want your life insurance," the man reportedly said, "Your house will go up in smoke and your children will be destroyed." And George didn't think anything of it. He just dismissed it and thought it was just some random man that appeared at his front door trying to scare him. But those words would come back to haunt him. On Christmas Eve, Jenny had answered a strange phone call. The woman on the other end of the line was asking for somebody that didn't live at the Sodder residence. When Jenny said that she had the wrong number and they didn't live there, she started laughing in an odd and very, very unsettling way. And then she hung up. Jenny then shrugged it off and went back to bed. And around 1 a.m. on the same night that Jenny had received the phone call, she was startled awake by a loud noise on her roof. Something like a thud followed by a rolling sound. And moments later, Jenny started to smell smoke. And I'm not positive what it could have been, but the way that she described what she heard, it kind of sounds like a Molotov was thrown on top of her roof. And if you don't know what a Molotov is, it's called a Molotov cocktail. It's a bottle with a little paper inside of it that is flammable and alcohol is on it. Somebody lights it and they can throw it, and whenever the bottle busts, it just explodes into a ball of fire. That's kind of what it sounds like somebody threw on a roof. Their house was on fire. George and Jenny raced to wake up their children. The flames spread and the staircase was cut off completely. George had managed to already get 4 of the children out safely, which were Marion, Sylvia, John, and George Jr., but the other 5 were trapped. And the children trapped upstairs was Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty. And George tried everything he could to save his children trapped upstairs. He smashed a window, cutting himself extremely bad in the process. He also looked for a ladder that he always kept near his house, but it was missing for some reason. And he also tried to start his trucks to try to pull them up to the side of his house so he can reach his children's windows, but they wouldn't start despite working perfectly the day before. And really all George, Jenny, and the other children can do was watch in horror as the flames engulfed their house. And by the time the fire department arrived nearly 7 hours later, there was nothing left. And this is where the mystery of the missing Sodder children really starts to deepen. And the official explanation of the 5 missing Sodder children was that the house had burnt so hot that their bodies was completely incinerated. But George and Jenny both refused to accept this. They began to notice inconsistencies that cast doubt on the official story. Jenny later started to conduct her own experiments by taking animal bones, burning them to see if they turned into ash, which they didn't. And she also learned from a crematorium that even with temperatures over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, bones would still remain. Which led to the question, how could a house fire completely destroy 5 bodies? And even stranger, the family's phone line had been cut. And neighbors also reported seeing a strange man stealing tools from the Sodder residence. And witnesses later claimed that they saw the children alive and being driven away during the fire. And determined to find their children, George and Jenny dedicated their lives to uncovering the truth. They even put up this billboard on a busy highway offering a $5,000 reward for the information. It became a landmark and the case gained national attention. And from a quick Google search, $5,000 in 1945 would roughly be worth $87,000 today. So it was pretty safe to say why this gained so much national attention. And in 1968, more than 20 years after the fire, the Sodders received a photograph in the mail. On the back was a cryptic note claiming that the boy in the picture was their missing son, Louis. They hired a private investigator to track down the lead, but he disappeared without a trace. Theories about what happened to the Sodder children abound. Some believe that they were kidnapped by the mafia, perhaps a revenge on George's outspoken political views. Others suspect human trafficking. Still, others argue the fire was a tragic accident and the sightings were cases of mistaken identity. George and Jenny both passed away without ever finding their children or the answers that they sought. The surviving children continue the search, but the mystery remains unsolved to this day. What really happened on that Christmas Eve in 1945? Were the Sodder children victims of a horrific accident or something far more sinister? Leave it in the comments below what you think happened to the Sodder children. In my opinion, I think the salesman that came to the door trying to sell them life insurance, as well as the lady that Jenny talked to on the phone, is the lead suspects of this case. As a neighbor did say that they seen somebody stealing tools from the Sodder residence. And I think the man that was selling the tools was the same salesman that was selling George life insurance, and he kind of got a little bit butthurt whenever George told him no, which led to him saying, your house is going to go into smoke and your children will be destroyed. And I think he used these tools that he stole to cut their phone line as well as break down George's trucks. And another person said that they seen the children being driven away. I think the woman that Jenny was talking to over the phone was a getaway driver. And I think the salesman that was selling George's life insurance took the kids and then put them in the car. I'm not sure if he was in their house taking the kids or if he was like at a window. I'm not positive because there was really no evidence of forced entry or a way that the kids could have been kidnapped. There was no window smash that I know of other than the ones that George was breaking whenever he's trying to save his children. And this is just all my speculation and my opinion about what I think happened and what led to the disappearance of the Sodder children. I think those two, the woman as well as the salesman, just did not like the Sodder family or dislike George due to his political views that he did not care to share with the world. Because of this, they took the Sodder children and they possibly could have sold them into human trafficking or done something way more sinister with the children. So I think if they could find the identity of the salesman that came to their front door, as well as the woman that Jenny talked to on the phone that night, I think this case could possibly be solved. And again, that is just my opinion, but I want to know if you agree with me, so let me know down in the comments below. Okay, that's going to be all for today, guys. I hope you did enjoy that video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. Also, subscribe down below if you haven't already, because it's free, and it helps me a whole lot, and you'll never miss out on another video. So it's a win-win for the both of us. But I hope y'all did enjoy this true crime case, because I definitely enjoyed telling it for you guys. Leave in the comments below what you think happened to the Sodder children and what you think the disappearance could have been. Obviously, I told my opinion on it before. Like I said, leave in the comments below if you agree with me. I just took it as that could have been the best possible way that this case could be solved if they found their identities and then go from there. So I hope that this case will eventually be solved. But with all that said, I hope you all have a great day. But this true crime case is left in the past.